InfoPlus.
Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. तपाई यो भनाइमा सहमत हुनुहुन्छ भने स्वागत छ तपाईहरुलाई अबको आधा घण्टा कार्यक्रम इन्फो प्लसमा। नमस्कार, म कार्यक्रम इन्फो प्लसको नियमित प्रस्तोता सदीक्षा श्रेष्ठ। एक सातापछि देश विदेशका शैक्षिक गतिविधि, रिपोर्ट र कुराकानी लिएर उपस्थित भइसकेकी छु। यहाँलाई स्मरण गराउँ, कार्यक्रम इन्फो प्लस हरेक सोमबार राति 9:30 बजे र विभिन्न समय पुनः प्रसारण हुने गर्दछ। टिभी प्रसारणपछि इन्फो प्लस युट्युब च्यानल, फेसबुक र अन्य सामाजिक सञ्जाल मार्फत समेत कार्यक्रम हेर्न सकिनेछ।
इन्फो प्लस
दर्शकवृन्द, आजको इन्फो प्लस प्रोग्राम अलि विशेष रहेको छ, किनभने आज हामीले अस्ट्रेलियन युनिभर्सिटी UTS, युनिभर्सिटी अफ टेक्नोलोजी सिडनीका रिप्रेजेन्टेटिभ्सहरूसँग विशेष कुराकानी गरेका थियौं। सोही विशेष कुराकानी आजको एपिसोडमा हामी यहाँहरू सामु राख्नेछौं। हेरौं अब सोही कुराकानी।
Info Plus for genuine information.
Namaskar and welcome to the show. Today I have a distinguished guest in this show, not just one but altogether 5, and they are from University of Technology Sydney, all the way from Australia. So we'll be having conversation about Australian University UTS. So I'm going to introduce all of my guests. On my right I have Willa Hostin, Associate Dean from Faculty of Science. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
I have International Coordinator from the Faculty of Engineering and IT, Jacqueline Pope. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Likewise, on my left, I have International Development Manager from Faculty of Science, Julia Saleh. Welcome, ma'am. Similarly, I have Dr. Sujin Pradhan, Lecturer, School of Professional Practice and Leadership from Faculty of Engineering and IT. Welcome. And last but not least, I have Deputy Head, International Student Recruitment, Future Learner Recruitment and Admissions. So I have Peter Murray. Welcome to the show. And once again, welcome to everyone. Can you give us a brief introduction of UTS, including UTS ranking and where does it stand, and ratings, and also global employability?
Sure. So University of Technology Sydney, which is also known as UTS, is one of the highest ranked universities in the world, located in Sydney. We offer programs across business, IT, arts, science, health, design and building, a full range of programs as well as IT. And we're currently ranked 137 in the world. Additionally, our global employability rankings are 62 in the world. So we're a comprehensive university with very high rankings, located in the biggest, most populous city in Australia.
That's absolutely great. Now, how does UTS Student Support Service helps Nepalese students, especially Nepalese students, in adopting new learning environment and settling down in Sydney?
Yeah, we have a range of support services that Nepalese students take advantage of. This is called the HELPS program, and it offers students help as soon as they arrive on campus in terms of their academic development, English language skills, study skills, as well as other extracurricular things like finance help, accommodation, student counselling, and also things that are a little bit more fun like clubs and societies, that kind of thing as well.
UTS is best known for employability and it ranks really high globally. So how does the university help students to connect with the industry after their courses are over?
Sure. So in addition to actually helping the students when their courses are over, our students actually get exposure to a wide range of industry functions and graduate connections while they're actually enrolled in UTS. And this is also backed up with work integrated learning and access to internships and other career opportunities as well. When they finish their UTS course, they also have the opportunity to become a UTS alumni, and the alumni network is a great tool that Nepalese students can use to really build their professional networks as they graduate.
What are the major offerings in science, and why is UTS famous for science?
Fantastic question. So we're really well known for science because our science faculty is a research intensive faculty. So each of our major offerings is aligned with research excellence. And in fact, all of our offerings, all of our research focus areas are ranked by the Australian government at or above world leading standard. But parallel to our excellent research, we're really focused on educating students so that we can train scientists and mathematicians who make a difference to the globe. So we're really focused on all of our students being outstanding graduates who are going to go out into a range of careers and really help the globe. You asked about our focus areas. So we have 7 focus areas in the faculty. Again, all of those aligned with research excellence. And those are medical science, biotechnology, environmental sciences, forensic science, mathematics and statistics, physics and chemistry.
So among those, which one is most popular so far?
Which one is most popular? Well, they're all pretty popular, but we find that students from Nepal are really interested in medical biotechnology as a master's, and some of those students have had amazing careers. We also find our new major in environmental conservation and management in our Masters of Science is super popular for Nepali students because there's such a passion about the environment.
Yeah. So how easy or difficult for the coursework master students is it to transition into research upon completion of the STEM designated programs?
Well, there's a couple of ways for students to progress on to research studies. We have a wonderful opportunity for students who are coming to do a master's program because we have a pathway from the master's into a Master of Philosophy and then on to a PhD program. So students who come to perhaps start one of the master's programs that Willa mentioned, as they move through their first year, if they're interested in starting on the research journey, we have the opportunity for them to transfer into a Master of Philosophy after the first year. They must maintain a credit average, but they can apply to transfer into that Master of Philosophy program, and that gives them the opportunity to really start their research journey, the preparation, the kind of skills that you need to build to be able to go on to do a successful PhD program. And also, even if the students decide not to go to PhD studies, if they've done that Master of Philosophy, it's a little bit of a distinctive bonus for them when they're looking for career opportunities, because research institutions, other organisations will recognise that the student has completed a Master of Philosophy, and that will make them more distinctive to an employer in the future.
Okay, since you just mentioned career opportunities, so what are the emerging roles in the forefront of science?
Well, it might be better for me to let Willa answer that question, because she develops all the programs in the Faculty of Science and probably is much better placed than me to discuss
over to Willa.
it.
Sure, no problem. We're really focused on career opportunities for our students in science. And so across each of those 7 focus areas that I mentioned, there's a range of career opportunities. In our broad area of medical science, we have a medical laboratory science postgraduate major and a pathology major in our Bachelor of Medical Science. Both of those are designed for a career as a hospital scientist in the growing health sector, and we find that's really popular. We have a really exciting major called Analytical Chemical Techniques, and we see the need for new medicines, new products, and new ways to synthesize those is a global need. And so we also see really exciting careers for students who are interested in chemistry. But I could go on, there's many different career opportunities in science, and we're really well known because we train our students in the hands-on techniques. So one of the strengths of UTS Science is our students learn in outstanding facilities with really the latest and greatest scientific equipment, and they love those learning environments, and it sets them up to be employable.
So to add more, what are the facilities?
Fantastic question. We have 2 world-leading super labs. So we have a super lab that all of our first-year science students learn in. This is a very large laboratory where many students work together, and in there they learn environmental science, chemistry, physics, and some biology. We have a PC2, that means a physical containment tube or an advanced biology lab that many of our students learn in, called the Hive, which is a wonderful, colourful lab that people can see on our laboratory, on our website, where they're learning the greatest and latest techniques in medical laboratory science and biotechnology and biomedical engineering. And then the physics students learn in some really fantastic facilities where they learn photonics and devices. And our chemists, the greatest analytical techniques.
That's fascinating. Now that I've come to science and also recruitments, I would like to jump to engineering and IT faculty. This is for Jacqueline. Why study engineering and IT at UTS?
Another great question. I think there's probably a number of factors that go into a decision on whether to study where to study. And the first one of those is probably rankings. And the Faculty of Engineering and IT is ranked #1 in Australia by the academic ranking of world universities, and it's also top 5 in the QS and Times Higher Education rankings as well. So we're without doubt one of the best facilities in the country for studying engineering and IT. Another factor might be the location of the campus. We're located right within the technology precinct of Australia, so we're surrounded by so much innovation and development and entrepreneurship. So it's a really fantastic location. And then I guess probably the most important factor is the actual style of teaching that we have in the faculty, where UTS and the faculty in general is really known for practice-based education. We really want to make sure that our graduates are fully prepared to go out and be ready to work as soon as they graduate. So over the past couple of years, we've been really focused on embedding studio subjects into our curriculum, which is giving the students the opportunity to work on actual projects over the course of the semester that is based on industry problems. And those projects are often mentored by some of our industry partners. So students get that industry experience right throughout their degree.
Okay. Since you mentioned the way of teaching, I would like to go to lecturer Dr. Susan Pradhan. So on what basis is the style of teaching is different than other universities at UTS?
As Jackie was just mentioning, sure, thank you. As mentioned by Jackie, my colleague, about the project-based learning, and there's a lot of studios being introduced in our Faculty of Engineering and IT that I can speak for. The studios means basically you go into a class where you get a project, and most of the projects are actually live projects, have a connection with the industry, and being able to work on the industry related or linked project allows students to get an understanding of what is actually happening, cutting edge, out in the industry. So a bit of a link to the industry is something, a practice we have in teaching. On top of that, we also have the latest and greatest technologies and in the new courses that we introduced for next year.
Okay. So since you're Nepali as well, so how is the condition in context of Nepalese students in the Faculty of Engineering and IT? What do you see?
In the faculty, I do see the number up and down, honestly speaking, because in the past there was a lot and then less and then a lot is coming in, and most of the students who completed at UTS that I have been in contact with are so successful. That's something I'm glad and proud to be sharing, that I do have some connects. And with our alumni dinner last 2 days ago, we caught up with some of the students who returned to this country and were so successful in running businesses in their own discipline. Was so good to see. So students who came to our faculty has been performing and has shown that how successful they are in their life.
Thank you. I again would like to come back to Jacqueline. Major engineering research projects at UTS where international students are involved. So what are they?
I did cherry pick a couple of ones that I think are a bit eye-catching and that kind of have an Australian flavour to them. One of them is related to the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and I think if you know anything about Sydney, you're probably familiar with our Harbour Bridge. And so one of the major projects that our Robotics Institute has been working on is developing a climbing robot. So it literally climbs up the bridge, and its purpose is to conduct repairs and also clean and paint the bridge. And it really gets into the small, narrow parts of the bridge that are dangerous for humans to get to. So it sort of increases productivity and is also improving occupational health and safety for the workers on the bridge. So it's that developing that robot is a major project that certainly international students could be involved in. And the second one that is interesting to highlight that also is pretty Australian focused is related to our beaches, and it's a shark spotter technology, and we have basically partnered up with an organisation that produces drones, and we developed software that has been loaded onto the drone, which flies over the beach and is streaming real-time video back to the shore and identifying mysterious objects within the ocean. And because the artificial intelligence technology is so advanced, it's able to determine the difference between a shark, a human being, even a dolphin. And if the drone does pick up any sharks in the area, it's actually able to transition a warning to the people that are in the ocean, and will, hopefully make sure that they get out and are safe. So that's also another great safety innovation and project that students can work on.
Thank you for chatting. I'd like to get back to Peter. So Peter, as you said already, you mentioned about employability of UTS. UTS is best known for employability, and it also ranks highly. We already talked about it. So is there any support available to groom the students, or let's say graduates, and connect them within the street later for employment?
Yeah, definitely. So our careers service is the central point that we would encourage all Nepalese students to use from the time they start at UTS. It's a service which connects them not just after they graduate, but actually while they're enrolled at UTS. Yeah, and that's backed up by the services that Jackie said within the faculty that get work experience as part of the degrees. So that service will connect them to graduate fairs. It will connect them to job advertisements, both while they're graduating and while they're enrolled. We often have recruiters come to UTS, and what we hear is that the companies that employ UTS graduates call them plug-and-play graduates. Just like an easy device to use, our companies know that they can employ UTS graduates at a very high level, and they're reliable. So that's why we have some of the highest graduate outcomes in the world.
Mm-hmm. So what are the other reasons that makes UTS different than other Australian universities?
I think it's the combination. It's a combination of things. So it's a combination of the location, which is probably one of the best locations in the world to study. It's in the middle of Sydney.
Yeah, for
It
students.
makes it, like Jackie said, the connections with particularly technology industries where UTS is located greatly helps our graduates find work, and also informs the course development of UTS. We collaborate with industry so closely that it immediately becomes part of our courses, particularly in the science and technology areas as well. So I think it's a combination of that location as well as the care we take with our students. Like Sojan mentioned, we had an alumni dinner 2 nights ago. So the students that my recruitment team bring in the beginning, we still stay quite close to them after they've graduated for many years. So I guess in terms of the unique offering, this is all backed up by the incredibly high ranking. So it's a place where Nepalese students can feel comfortable that not only will they be in a high quality program, but they'll be taken care of, and they'll have a great graduate outcome as well.
Okay, let's come to the housing or the accommodations things. So can you briefly tell us about the accommodation and the financial structure for a student per week or a month on basis?
So there's 2 clear options for students when they enroll at UTS. We do have accommodation on campus, which is UTS accommodation in the precinct. At UTS, yeah. And students can choose from a variety of options in that area. It starts from approximately $220 Australian per week, and can go up to $350, depending on which option you choose. There are also private accommodation options. Because we're located in such a busy area, there's an infinite amount of accommodation options for students. What we normally recommend for Nepalese students coming to Sydney is for the first year of their course, we find it incredibly beneficial to have accommodation very close to campus or on campus. What that allows the student to do is focus on their enrolment, their study, learn the environment, meet their friends. And what usually happens is that after 1 year, they'll meet a couple of friends, and then they venture out into private accommodation, and they can manage their not only their accommodation costs, but food and that kind of thing as well.
So how easy or difficult is it to find private accommodations for them?
Actually really easy now. There's several apps that help students a lot in terms of finding accommodation. But it's, imperative. We find that there's actually been studies done that show that if they get accommodation on campus in their first year, their performance in their academics is actually higher than those students who study off campus in their first year as well.
The students will definitely prefer to stay at the UTS.
Yeah, we would recommend that, particularly in the first year, or longer if they want to.
Thank you again. I'd like to get back to science again. Which is the most fascinating place for students of science? I know you have already mentioned all labs and all, but still I would like you to add more on this. The fascinating places for students of science, especially at UTS.
That's a really fantastic question. So I will mention the labs again, even though we talked about them, because our students love our laboratory learning spaces and they spend a lot of time. As we've mentioned, we're very well known for the students having those skills. But another few opportunities that our students love is the environmental science students actually spend a lot of time in the field. So they might be out at the edge of the ocean or out in some of our amazing native wildlife sites doing studies, and we're very well known for that hands-on field learning. So for environmental science students, you get to meet and see lots of parts of Australia. But also a lot of our students do an internship program. And so those internship programs, for example, in the medical laboratory science spaces, we actually place them in hospitals and other research laboratories. And internally, as a research intensive faculty, a lot of our students choose to do an internship in our actual research labs. And so they're partnered with our research experts during their studies and conducting a small research project in one of our research laboratories. And so that experience and working with a research team and doing a small independent study which might lead into research is another thing that our students get so excited about. It also stands them out for their career because they've engaged with a research or they've engaged with a hospital or an industry laboratory, and it really stands out on their CV and makes them even more employable.
Okay, can you name a few projects that students are currently working on?
Projects that students are currently working on. We've got a whole range of really exciting projects, but we've got one really interesting project on Australian quolls. So these are these tiny Australian-specific species that we're trying to restore the population of, and many students work out in the field monitoring that population and doing interventions in areas around how that works. We have a really exciting project with seahorses, which is right by the Opera House. And so we have a research team, including students, who are trying to rebreed seahorses and put them back in the ocean right at the Opera House. It's fascinating. They're really gorgeous little creatures. And then, of course, there's the biotechnology sector. So we're very well known for biotechnology research, and we have a range of students working in improving diagnostics, improving treatments, understanding cancer. So there's a whole lot of really exciting research going on in the faculty.
Okay, thank you, Bella. This is for Jacqueline again. Same question, most probably. So what are the most fascinating places, or let's say corners in UTS for students from engineering and IT?
I think, as Willa said, the labs are probably some of the most fascinating places for students to spend their time. I don't think I've really spoken about them yet, but just to highlight a couple. The first is our tech lab, which is a relatively new multidisciplinary research facility located out near Sydney Airport, and that covers research areas from across the faculty. Engineering and IT is such a broad church of disciplines, and so this tech lab has facilities for artificial intelligence, robotics and automation, electrical power and energy, civil engineering, everything. So I think it's a really fascinating place for students to spend their time to work on their research, and it's also really a great place to network with our industry partners, because a lot of the projects that we're working on are with industry partners. So it's a great place to actually meet with those industry partners and work with them and really get that great experience. Some of the other facilities we have is our data arena, and this is a 360-degree data visualization lab. So basically, normally data will be on a big spreadsheet full of numbers and columns and rows, and it's really hard to glean any insights from a really big data file. But what the data arena allows you to do is actually visualize the data. So an example of that is we had an academic that was interested in analysing a abandoned marble quarry, and he was able to scan the cave, and upload that into the data arena, and it allows you to visualise 360 degrees the inside of this cave, and you're able to really understand the way this cave is aging and how it may grow into the future and what environmental impacts might come from that. So that, I think, for our data analytics and artificial intelligence students is definitely one of the most fascinating places on campus.
Fascinating.
Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to get back to Dr. Surgeon. So since you're a lecturer also, you meet students at the beginning of the courses and all till the end of the courses. So what do you see the changes in a student, particular student, regarding their personality or being a scholar?
Love the question. Thank you so much. That's a really exciting question, and that's something I really, as a teacher, that's something I say is like, wow. I see students coming in from the first year students, and by the time they graduate in 3 years or 4 years, they are totally different human being, because they're so professional, they're so mature, especially those students who actually go out and do some industry-based, some sort of internship or some sort of a project involvement. Their understanding is totally different. So seeing that allows, as a teacher, very satisfying experience to have. Gone through many of those. So great question. Thank you for asking that. I wanted to ask something more on the students who hang around. One of the things in the faculty, the engineering IT, it's been a couple of years that the space is being developed. It's called Teaching and Learning Hub, where students hang around and do a bit of group work. Apart from that, there was a group of students who I now mentoring the people who goes to Stanford University as a University Innovation Fellows. They came back from Stanford and designed a room where they could collaborate, how they can do collaboration better. Even the furnitures, the design of the furnitures, how you can actually turn that into the table or the chair or whatever they wanted to do. And that's been designed, and we students tend to hang around a lot there to collaborate. So thank you.
Okay, so that's quite a big change.
Yes.
Absolutely worth it to study at UTS.
It's something I feel like I'm talking about building 2, the new building is, and a lot of students like to hang around. It's a beautiful building, and the food court itself is a kind of a lot of people hanging around. And the library, if you have seen it, and again, the library is very attractive to be spending time and studying, and doesn't mean library you can make noise, but there is a spot there you can actually do the group work. So.
Okay. Now that we have come to the end of this show, is there anything that you'd like to add or say to our viewers, especially Nepalese students who are willing to join the UTS?
Just that take every opportunity that you can when you enrol, and that includes not obviously your study is the most important thing, but use the help that we've all talked about today, use all the facilities, make sure you involve yourself fully in student life, in all the clubs and societies, build your networks, because all of those things contribute to your graduate experience as well. And in terms of getting to Australia, we're very happy to be partnered with Study Square, so the students can definitely get some assistance from Study Square as well.
That's definite. Anyone?
I guess
would like to add on this?
I would just like to add that I think we love having our international students on campus. The international students are really valued. They're really important to us. The vibrancy of our campus with the students who've come from so many backgrounds really makes UTS a special place. And so we're pleased to welcome international students, Nepali students, to the campus, and we couldn't wait to see more Nepali students joining us at UTS.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for this valuable time and this wonderful conversation about UTS. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
InfoPlus,